So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 3-month questionnaire construction internship cum training program. So, as you know, that it is a hands-on experience that you would learn the concepts and parallelly you would also be learning how to apply them. It is a mix of both theory and practical, also time to time there would be some quizzes so that you know how much you are learning. Before we proceed uh, for the orientation and our first lecture around personal selection, I would like to introduce Dr. Debulal Datta Roy. Sir is an associate professor at Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, and is the founder of RPRIT, which is Rabindrick Psychotherapy Research Institute Trust. It is based at Kolkata, and it has been running various courses, internships, webinars, workshops, training programs around psychotherapy and research. And Rabindrick psychotherapy is something which is based on the values of Dr. Rabindranath Tagore. And we would be talking about why Rabindrick psychotherapy and why research is being pursued from this trust, and what are our aims, and what all has been achieved through Rabindrick Psychotherapy Research Institute. So there have been some period-based courses such as mental health counseling. It would be starting this week. And school psychology, forensic psychology, applied psychometrics, 2 batches have been completed and the 3rd one is announced. The current one which is going on is questionnaire construction for personal selection. And the kind of work we have done, we have constructed 40 items measuring effect of dance and preschoolers, identification of aptitude of story therapist, psychophysics model in Kathak dance, mathematical modeling of Rabindra Sangeet and human value system, profile matching based career counseling, pro-environmental attitude scale construction, from the students of RPRIT, 2 best paper awards from INSPA and Deepak Bhatt Award from IAAP, INSPA Ratna Award, and 3 journal publications have been there. There have been international webinar in association with RPRIT. One first was Philippines and Greece on Rabindrick psychotherapy, and Bangladesh too on data science and Bloom's taxonomy. The national webinars which have been conducted were in collaboration with IAHP, INSPA, IAAP, with Patiala, Ranchi University, Jammu, Mizoram, and every Sunday we have free webinar around any topic, and anyone is free to join. So there, sir, I now leave it up to you.
Okay, thank you, Priya.
Thank you.
Rabindrick Psychotherapy Research Institute Trust, it has been formed in 2018, following the vision of the trustees, Ms. Sudipta Majumdar, she is the secretary and treasurer. Dr. Rama Manna, she is the trustee. She is the head of the Department of Counseling and Guidance Department of the Indian Institute of Psychometry. And Dr. Subroto Bosak, he is the principal of Institute of Engineering and Management Ashram Center. Me and Dr. Shitangshu Khatua, he is the professor of Heritage Institute of Technology. And this is our logo. This logo indicates 3 layers of consciousness. The outer layer is the Murto layer. The middle one, it is the Rag layer. And the inner core layer, that is called the Saraswat layer. The assumption is that Murto layer is the seat of attention, sensation, and perception. And if there is any deformity, any distortion, any impairment in the Murto layer, you will find problems or difficulties with respect to the cognitive aspect. And if you find any sort of psychological problems, some emotional problems, you will find the change in the rag layer. And the Saraswat layer, where you will find the peace, the total harmony. So these are the three layers, and we are following the research methodology, that is the Tamosho Ma Jyotir Gamayo. It means we are trying to minimize the error from any observation in order to explore the truth. So that is the principle of reliability and validity. So this is all about our institute, and Priya has nicely covered all the activities. I hope in near future you will work with us and you will publish your paper in some conference, in some journals. And currently we have the questionnaire, we have the data set also. And if you are interested, you can work with that data, you can collect the data, and you can publish your paper in association with RPRIT. And RPRIT will provide you all sorts of support to publish your paper. Thank you. So now it is to Priya.
Thank you, sir. So all three of our participants have joined. Can we please request everyone to quickly introduce yourself so that all the members are introduced by each other. So quickly give your name, your affiliation, what are you pursuing currently, or if you are working, please tell us about where are you working and in what position, and what are your expectations from this questionnaire constructions internship come training program. So who will go first?
May I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Iti Shukla, and I'm from Bhopal. I've done all my undergraduation and post-graduation from Bhopal itself. And I've qualified for UGC NET and GRF also. And I've been working as a lecturer in different universities, private, government, and all. But recently, now I'm preparing for my PhD, and I'm also looking forward to publish some research papers, as I haven't worked on any one of them. I've supervised researches, but I haven't worked or published any research. So I will also expect, and as sir said, we can also expect to work with RPRIT and publish our own research papers. We'll get all the sorts of support. So I'm looking forward to that also. And yes, my aim is to go on with this PhD thing, work in researches, and publish some research papers, of course. So I'm preparing currently for that. Yes.
So thank you, Iti. May I know that is
Yes, sir.
the data that you have collected, that is related to what?
Sir, currently I haven't collected any data.
Oh, acha. Okay. So
yes, I'm just looking forward to it. I have many ideas. I may work on it while I'm pursuing this course work. Yeah. This
okay.
workshop.
Currently, we have the data, that is the value data, human value data. So if you can collect more data, then I think it is possible to publish some paper. Because many professors, they are also interested, particularly this type of data. This data is related to the Rabindric human values. So
Okay.
I have explored 28 values, 28 human values, and I published one paper in Organizational Psychology Journal, and that is the data that I collected from the army professional. Okay,
Army professional.
because I gave one lecture, I think in Gwalior.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Gwalior. I gave lecture to the army people, and the army people, they were involved in Kargil war and also in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So this is very rare data that I collected, and finally I published that their perception. So I think these human values data, particularly Rabindric human values, that is, there are ample scope, particularly for development of this concept. So,
Yes, sir.
and today I did one experiment on particularly single value. That value name is the self-awakening. And when you study self-awakening, so when you study Rabindra Sangeet, then you will find that is that Tagore has given special importance on the self-awakening.
Okay.
So that is the basically the constructivist approach. What John Dewey, he also suggested once upon a time. Piaget also suggested constructivism. And Rabindranath Tagore, he also given importance on the constructivism in his different songs. We find that is, he gave special importance on the unsupervised learning technique. Unsupervised learning technique. And you will find the unsupervised learning, that is the, again, that is the constructivism approach. And currently, you will find that is the almost all the social media based upon the artificial intelligence, they are following this unsupervised learning. So I think as a psychologist, as a psychometrician, we have some ideas. We can think about the reliability and the validity of this unsupervised learning technique. I did one research related to the clustering of different symptoms and the complaints. Specifically the psychiatric complaints, whether the psychiatric complaints are related with their symptoms or not. That is not the symptom, that is a diagnostic category. So, and again, that is also the unsupervised approach. And I have developed the concept that is the psychoinformatics. I am the pioneer of this concept, psychoinformatics. Psycho means psychology, means information. And informatics, it includes the statistics, and of course, that is a data science also. So we will get all those things. It is just like econo-informatics or edu-informatics, like that. I have developed the concept psychoinformatics long back, and I published some papers also. So thank you, Iti. So I'm just sharing my own study.
Thank you, sir.
I think in near future, if anyone will ask you any question about, that is, who is the founder of your institute and what is his contribution, then you can say some words at least. Okay, thank you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Jashvati or Wilma, who will introduce?
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. You are audible.
I am Yashwati Yadav. I'm pursuing PhD from Rajasthan University. I have qualified UGC NAT, and my topic is test construction. Test
Very good.
construction on enclosed cognition.
Ah, beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Very, very nice.
I'm not working anywhere. I'm just preparing for PhD work.
Oh, that's good. Test
I am
construction in enclosed condition.
enclosed cognition. It's
Achha.
related to our clothing and mood. How our clothing impacts our thought process.
Okay.
Yes,
I
sir.
think Priya can give you this support. Priya can give you this support definitely, and you will be
Sure, sir.
you will get a lot of the information, a lot of the knowledge from our course about how to construct the items, how to design the items. So everything you will learn, and again you will learn that is how do you collect the data to make
Yes, sir.
your data more reliable, to make your data more valid. So definitely all those issues will be discussed. So please you do not miss any class. That is
Okay.
the most important part, because if you miss one class, then you cannot follow the next class. Okay, because all
Okay.
the classes are interlinked with each other. So it is not like that the post-graduation class, that is you cannot attend one class and next time you will attend and you can get all the information. No, it is not like that. It is a flow. It is a flow and it is a professional course. So you must be prepared for the professionalism. For that reason, you will be glad to know that is you are here through the rigorous selection process. Okay. Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Yashwati. Thank you, Yashwati. Okay, now Wilma, please introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Vilma from Mangalore. I'm also a research scholar, a part-time research scholar. Uh, Basically, it's 4 years now, but I've not been able to do data collection due to the restrictions imposed because of COVID. So I have actually translated the questionnaire into Kannada. I am interested in publishing the adaptation process of the questionnaire. So I've not published any of the research articles so far. So I'm looking forward for publication and basically learning how to develop a test and how to standardize a test. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilma. Very nice to know that is you are interested the adaptation procedure, the standardization procedure. And here again, I like to share that is our Rabindric value questionnaire. It is very small. Okay, so you can translate into your Kannada language, and then you can do some of the adaptation style. So you can correlate the Kannada language base the questionnaire and also the English version questionnaire. So you can correlate that possibility is there. Definitely,
Okay.
it is possible. You can do and you can publish your paper, because this is nice. That is, if you can collect some data from the people of your own locality. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now over to Priya.
Okay, thank you everyone for your introduction. So in the brochure, a small chunk of the outline of the syllabus was discussed. Now I want to walk you through the entire breakdown, the breakup of syllabus through each units and the kind of topics we would be covering in this 3 months course. So there would be around 25 classes in the span of 3 months of 2 hours each, and you would be given some sort of assignment in form of report writing. In later stages, it could be data collection, interpretation of results, and also you are supposed to go through Google Classroom for the uploaded resource material. So the way we would be running this course is there is Google Classroom, where all the resource material, Zoom link, the quiz and notifications would be provided. It is similar to a notice board where all the information regarding your course, your queries, the resource material, everything is there, and you can go back and check how much time is left, who all has presented, and if you want to submit anything there, you can submit it. So it is similar to a WhatsApp group, but a more formal structure according to a classroom. You would also find your quizzes, your assignments, due dates of assignments. So we would be using Google Classroom for the same. And for our interactive classroom, Zoom would be used as a platform to talk about theories, practicums, and the 2-hour lessons would be taken over the Zoom. So are you clear? I think there is no confusion regarding what is Google Classroom, how to use it, and the Zoom would be used for the lectures. So I have sent you a request to join Google Classroom. If you haven't been able to access the invite, I have also shared a link in the group to access the Google Classroom. Okay, so I haven't posted anything before the orientation. So there are the 2 parts, Google Classroom and our Zoom lectures, and they would be recorded for every lecture. So I'll proceed towards the breakdown of syllabus. What does it look like? What are you expecting? What all will be the assignments, and what all you will learn throughout the 3-month curriculum. Sir, may I have permission to share the screen? Hello, sir.
Yes, you can share the screen.
Okay, sir. Now I can. Okay, I'm sharing the screen. Is it visible to you all?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 5 papers, and every paper has units, and every unit has some subtopics. So I would be walking you through what does it look like. So the first paper is Introduction to Job Analysis and Selection and Training, of which the first unit is also the same, Introduction to Job Analysis. And the subtopics which we would be covering are job description, personal specification, working environment, type of tests, method of job analysis. So there are various methods of job analysis. We would be talking specifically in detail about psychopathic personality and criminal profiling. It would take around 2 hours. And yes, so this is unit 2. Unit 2 consists of systematic literature review on the 3 variables: personality, integrity, honesty, and interpersonal relationship. So it would talk about the subtopics which we would be covering on how to conduct a literature review from scratch when we are aiming for any kind of research or any kind of research work, publication, article. The groundwork is called the literature review. So we would be talking about what all things to consider while conducting literature review, what kind of format we are supposed to follow according to the APA guidelines, and then how to format it according to our need. So, and also if you are making use of data through online, then how to how to make references, quote references for the same. If you're using it through a book or an article, how to quote an article, how to quote a presentation. So it would be taught in the classroom, and you would be given assignment each each variable to each person to conduct a literature review, and then a format would be shared. So your homework would be to put all your literature review in a format. So once you submit that, that would be the unit 2 would be completed. So we are not just doing it, we would be doing it simultaneously in these 2 hours itself. So it would be learning while and doing while you're learning. So it is a hands-on experience. So the unit 3 includes item pooling and designing the questionnaire. So after we have created the foundation and laid the foundation of our variables and identified how to go ahead and what kind of previous work has been done in the part of these variables. So then we are able to identify what are some domains to look for, how do these variables manifest if you want to convert them into an item. So suppose you are trying to make a test around honesty. So what would it look like? Would it look like a questionnaire? Would it look like a projective technique? Would it look like a semi-projective technique? So how would an expression of each response format would look like? What would be the questions like? How to design questions? And if we are talking about honesty as a variable can mean a lot, but honesty in a context can define the orientation of our literature review and our progress of work. So operationally defining the variables. So is it honesty in a hospital setting, honesty among school students, honesty among criminals, honesty among spiritual leaders, honesty among political leaders? If I add a context, it changes everything. We have to learn to operationally define in what context are we using a variable. So that would help us design the items. Suppose if I write an item, I always like to give my homework to my teacher on time, and that is used in a context of a political honesty assessment in a political setting. Do you think it is a right statement? Would it fit for a political leader? Would it be able to assess the qualities as an honest person of a political leader? No. Every variable is highlighted in its context. So operationally defining the variables is something which we have to learn. Then if honesty is something, then what are some of the domains? What do you think honesty consists of? So identifying the domains and then constructing items, validation, if what we are searching, what we are trying to search and design the items, are they validated through the prior research? Then our literature review would be helpful. We would validate them with the help of some experts. We would be designing the survey to carry out a pilot study. So we would be learning everything and trying and testing everything parallelly. Unit 4 consists of the sample survey and item analysis. So once we have designed the survey, what would be the next step? To collect the data. And then we will try to find out if the items are difficult enough, if our items are able to discriminate between people who are high on honesty and low on honesty. So these techniques would be helpful in identifying the standardization process of and the strength of our items through item analysis, item difficulty, and item discrimination. So this is the statistical part where we would learn how to calculate discrimination index how to calculate the item difficulty index. And after making all these changes, we would learn if we have to accept an item or to reject an item or to revise it to strengthen the item to fit our instrument. Then on the basis of that, we would revise our instrument. Okay. And this is the paper 3, which is establishing psychometric properties. Once the revision of the instrument, we would be creating, all 3 of you would be creating your own little instrument, and we would be testing that out. So then we would identify, once we have tested it on a population, we would identify the reliability. We would be establishing the psychometric properties, as all of us have learned during our masters, that reliability, what is reliability? I think when we are talking about item construction, reliability, validity, test, standardization is the soul of our instrument. How reliable is it? Is it going to elicit similar scores over a period of time? Is it valid enough that it is testing what we are aiming to test? If the items of honesty look like criminal behavior, so how are we going to differentiate between if the items of honesty look like honesty or something else? Is it really assessing honesty or something else? So this is how we would be establishing the psychometric properties. Then there would be some more steps. Draft data collection for establishing norm. How do we make sense of the data unless we have a norm? For example, I am scoring 10 marks. How would you know if the 10 marks is good or not? Unless we have the norms. So how would we know if that 10, the score of 10, where is it falling? Am I in the lower scoring people or the higher scoring people or somewhere in the middle? Norms help us to have a reference. Where do we stand in the population? So we would be designing norms for our instrument. So if I am scoring 10 in a group of people where all of them are failing and the cutoff for failing is 5, that means I am on the superior high end of the population of the class. But if I am scoring 10 and everyone is scoring above 50 or 100, then I'm scoring among the lowest scorers in the class. So norms really help us identify where do we stand and how much are we able to differentiate between the high and the low scorers. So we would be examining the reliability among variables and then examining the validity, and the steps of standardization would be carried out and the test battery would be revised. So once our test is done, then we would be understanding how to write a manual. Since if Yashwati is trying to make a test, then she would want to make a proper manual of it in case someone else wants to refer that test and she wants to, register the test with Prasad Psycho or Rupa Psychological Corporation or any publishing house. Then she have to, if you have seen a manual, and it consists of the theory, the domains, the entire test standardization process, the instrument, what does its scoring looks like, does it have a reverse item, the statistics behind the scoring, some tables which you have to refer for norms. If there are multiple types of norms, then there are further tables for every kind of norms. Okay, and there are references, there is interpretation, there is conclusion. So the entire manual, what does it looks like when you create and design a manual? So the final step would be designing a manual, and everyone will have their input. And at the end of it, we would be publishing a paper out of our entire work, and all of you would be co-authors of the same research, so that we are able to. Why do we publish research? everyone is interested who is pursuing research or PhD. Why do they want to publish their research? This is an open question for everyone. We can keep our nice little research in our folder and it can lie there. Why do we want to publish our research? What is the aim? Do you want to answer? Do you want to try? Why do you think everyone wants to publish their research? And it would be great if you can come up with an example. Iti, do you want to try? Everyone has to answer here. Why do we publish a research paper?
So that the theory can be developed around the results and whatever data we have collected from our region.
Okay.
And I'm thinking actually.
Okay, please think. Vilma ma'am is trying to respond. Please, ma'am, go ahead. Iti, meanwhile, Iti can think about some more reasons. Why do we publish a research paper?
So that people in the field understand what are the developments that are happening.
Right.
And also that gives a direction for others to continue their research further.
Exactly. Yashwati, do you want to add into what Vilma and Iti shared?
Yes, ma'am. So that our work is reachable to everyone, whatever we have done.
Okay, so I'll share an interesting recent example. When COVID was, the entire world was hit by a wave of COVID. The first few researches, we did not know how does this virus acts like, what are the effects, is it deadly, which part of body it attacks, and what is the severity of attack, and if there is any chance for vaccination which could help us the infection, or the way it became from epidemic to pandemic. So what is the nature of the issue? What is the nature of the virus? So we did not had any information. What should we do? And this was adding to the panic, because we had no information, because we were only acting on whatever the information we were getting through every trial, through every data, through every interpretation. Is it deadly enough? What to do, what not to do? There were so many trials and errors since we had no information. So with every trial and error, the researchers and the people who were researching the virus, the microbiologists and various people in the research were trying to know what does the infection looks like, how does it transmits, how does it manifest. So if one person in the China published a research paper, everyone in the world were able to define their strategies to deal with it. And similarly, everyone, every city, every country, it was acting differently. There were so many variants. Do we know about variants? There were many variants, and all the variants were behaving differently. So the nature of manifestation was different. The way it was affecting the immunity, it was different. So similarly, from every part of the world, many research papers were coming up, and with the help of that, we were able to develop a strategy to deal with it. Suppose the outbreak is currently in China and in India, we still have some time before we can prepare for it. So the researches are done around these things can help us identify how to deal with this. So this is why we do, so that publish research papers, so that our developments reach everywhere, we get cited, and if there are some lacunas or some gaps in research, anyone who is reading our research can identify the gaps and work on it. And this is why we do literature review. If you were to identify all the researches and all the research papers, articles written, done in the field of honesty, then we would be identify that honesty was studied in context of school education, criminal behavior, political behavior, but was it studied in context of vaccination development, that are they really true to it, or anything of any sort. So we are able to identify the gaps by going through many research papers. So this is why we publish as a contribution, so that it helps in development of the field, and also it reaches most of the people. And whatever we have done, it does not remain as a just as a document. It reaches all the corners of the world, and your work is being acknowledged by people that yes, this and this person has done this interesting work. How would you know if a person has developed a test unless it was published? How would you know someone has designed TAT or Rorschach in blot test unless it was the entire curriculum, the entire test standardization process, the items, the theory behind it, it was published, and then it was, sent for circulation, and it was used in different contexts. How would you know that something like this exists? Because it has been published. So that this is why we are aiming for paper publication towards the end of it. And this is how you all of us, you will go through all the steps of test questionnaire construction, starting from scratch, understanding the variables, literature review, designing the variables, testing the variables, developing the manual, so that if in future you have to design a test of your own, every nitty-gritty step you have to go through, what to keep, what to reject. And this is how you would be contributing to the field of psychology, to the field of research, and to your CV as well. So this is how we would be running through. Do you have any questions? Please go ahead and ask. I expect 2 questions for everyone. So this is how we interact. The classes would be interactive. It would be expected that you raise a lot of questions, so that it could be any kind of question. Why is it so complicated? I haven't studied reliability, validity after masters. Any kind of questions, any kind of queries. If you want anything to be added, and if you want clarification of how would it look like, how will we do the statistical analysis, all the questions are welcome. Please go ahead. No questions.
As of now, no questions for me.
Yes, no questions for me as well.
Okay. Yashwati, do you have any question? Do you have any query?
No, ma'am. No
Okay.
questions.
Okay. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Very nicely, Priya covered the syllabus and the functions to do. I think you have understood the requirements of this particular course, and in near future, when you will join the course, you will always come with your notebook. It is very much useful. That is, if you are interested to learn the basic concept of R programming. Are you interested with the R programming, or you are
Sir, I think
interested
first we
only
should
to
ask,
the...
are you aware of R programming? Most of the students are aware of SPSS, not R programming.
Okay, okay. So you have the idea about the SPSS, right?
Yes, sir. We have the
Yes,
idea of SPSS and
Okay.
R programming. I have heard from RPRIT only.
Acha, thank you. Okay. Jashwati and Wilma, any idea about the R programming, R
no, sir.
script?
I'm
No
not
idea.
familiar with that.
Okay.
No, sir.
Jashwati?
Sir,
Hello, Yashwati. Any idea about the R script, R programming?
no, sir. I didn't heard about.
Okay. Because in case of the SPSS, you are guided by the icons. You are guided by the formula. Okay, that is already set by the SPSS. But in case of the R programming, you can control your formula. You can design your formula. So therefore, especially current psychometricians, statisticians, mathematicians, they are all paying attention to the R programming. And there is another software, that is the Python. Again, that is the Python and R, almost they are same, but particularly R is very much useful when you want to design your own formula. Another thing, that is for the data visualization, R is very much useful. So when you are interested to work on the any particular statistics, any particular data analysis, you are supposed to examine the quality of the data. For example, when you want to use the correlation statistics, you are supposed to know the outlier of your variable. So therefore, the data quality is most important, specifically in case of the PhD, doctoral dissertation. Most of the time, what we are doing in this online condition or the new normal condition, we are collecting the data through the Google form. We are distributing the Google form to the large number of people. We are collecting the data, and based upon that data, we are making the conclusion. So this is my humble suggestion, that is, before making any conclusion, before making any interpretation of your data, please check your data first. So data checking is vital. And if you know the R script, it would be very much easy for you. But what is R script? R script is just like the code that we usually follow in case of the calculator. For example, if I say A equal to 2, that means I assign 2 on the A. So if I say B equal to A plus 2, then what will be the score? A equal to 2 and B equal to A plus 2. Then what will be the B?
4.
Correct. So this is very easy.
Yes.
So when you have the large data, maybe you have the 10,000 data. You cannot handle the 10,000 data with SPSS. But you can handle that data with R programming. Therefore, this is my suggestion, that is during the course, this is the golden opportunity wherein you can understand this most advanced statistical software. Most advanced statistical software, that is the R programming. So if you study the R programming, definitely you will be highly benefited. But if you are not interested, you can learn everything by SPSS or by Excel as directed by PIA. But if you are interested R, definitely you will learn. Okay.
I'll be interested, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Viti. I think Wilma and Yashwati, I have no idea.
Yes, sir. I'm interested.
Okay, now
Yes,
Wilma.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, definitely interested to learn.
Okay, okay. Then you will learn it during the class hour. You will learn. It is very easy, and everything is available nowadays. That is the basic concept of R, etc. So you can download your R from the Google, because it is open access. That is another advantage. In case of the SPSS, that is SPSS is not the open access, but R is open access. So you can download R, free download, and some version is there, that is the paid download. But again, you can work with the free download. Before that, you have to download the R CRAN project, and then you will download the R Studio. And in the R, you will find the already data set is there. So based upon that data set, you can work with the R. There will be no problem. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Supriya, do you like to share something more?
Yes, sir. So I would be talking about the few of the slides of our job analysis. So as an introduction to our formal lectures, which would be starting from Wednesday. So I want to share the screen and talk about why we are talking about questionnaire construction and personal selection. And when we are talking about personal selection, what all would it include? So just a little theoretical background before we start from our classes from Wednesday. So I am sharing the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we would be talking in detail about job analysis. So before we talk about job analysis, what do you all know about, what do you understand by personal selection?
Selecting the candidates for the job.
right? Everyone has to answer anything you understand.
Yes, I'm selecting the right candidate for the job.
Right, right. Okay.
Selection of the candidates on the basis of their skills, job, abilities, aptitude, and interest, I guess.
Okay. Why do we need to have a process for personal selection?
To filter out candidates, considering the context of the job, as in what the job requires, uh, requirements of the workplace, the kind of job or the abilities it is asking for to accomplish the job tasks,
Good.
whether the candidate will be able to perform while he'll be working with the organization.
Great. So all of you already understand the definition of personal selection. So everyone, please give me one example of a successful personal selection and an unsuccessful personal selection. What would it look like with an example?
Yes, if the right candidate is selected for the right job, job satisfaction will be high, and less disappointment appointments. Work engagement will be high.
Bilkul.
Good organizational environment will be there.
And what would a poor personal selection would look like?
A skillful candidate will not be selected for the job. Their skills will not be matched with the characteristic of the job criteria.
Yes, yes.
So productive work will not be expected.
Well said. Iti, do you have an example?
For example, if a candidate is hired just on the basis of mere qualifications, for example, and a person is selected on the basis of skill set, and whether he or she is not having the qualification or the certification.
Yes.
But he is able to do the task successfully, efficiently, and effectively also, as in lesser time, and the productivity is high. And the person who is selected merely on the basis of qualification, who does not have the skill set plus or the interest for the job to accomplish the task, so he will not be as much efficient, of course, and he or she will not be able to perform the job task as required or as demanded by the organization in time, to deliver it successfully.
Very good, very good. So, yes, that is what personal selection is. So, personal selection is basically hiring a desirable person, candidate for the organization. So, what is a desirable candidate? A person which is qualified and fits according to the job. So if I have to recruit a fireman and the person does not even know how to access and use the equipment, will the person be a fit to it when the time comes? No, it would end up getting more disastrous. If one person has to recruit a psychologist and the person does not even know the human psyche, id, ego, superego, the personality characteristics, the theories, the biological theories, the biological basis, the human development, everything, how would I be able to understand a person as a psychologist, as a human being, the psyche of the person, if I'm not qualified for the job? Okay, so we would be talking about uh, the job analysis. Why do we need to analyze our job before we use that kind of analysis for our personal selection? So we have to, workforce planning is a systematic process to identify human resource requirement to meet the organization's goals. It helps in developing the strategies to meet these requirements. It is a continuous process which ensures that organization has the right number of people in the right job at the right time, so that we have more effective and efficient use of workers. Many organization has developed models for workforce planning. So in order to achieve a right fit for the right job at the right time, it requires further planning. And this is why organizational behavior, human resource development, and various multidisciplinary fields have been working in the same area to understand, to help organization, to help people, to help companies identify what are the requirements, what fits, what makes a person fit to the job, and how to increase the person's productivity, the organizational productivity, the person's efficacy, the person's understanding, the how is the person behaving, how is the person feeling, how is the person satisfied. If the person is stuck there, how to make the best out of our arrangement, and if there are some training requirements, how to go ahead. So when we are trying to plan a workforce, there are typically 5 steps to identify the firm's business strategy, articulating the firm's talent philosophy and strategic staffing decision. So identifying firm business strategy, if I am a person and I have to recruit people for, okay, artistic people. I am, suppose I want to recruit people for designing artwork. Okay, suppose I have to recruit people for designing artwork for my company. What would be my strategy? My strategy would be to recruit people who have some degree in art. They have some inclination for making new art, understanding the requirements of the people and designing on the basis of requirements. Okay, it requires a lot of creative efforts, brainstorming, ability to take the inspiration and understanding various ideas, and lots of communication skills. Understanding ideas requires a good communication skill. I want to have a business strategy, what kind of people and how I want to, what kind of workforce do I want in my business, and then articulating the talent philosophy. So if we have identified our business strategy that these kind of people would be best fit, who are good in communication, who are talented, who have, you know, quest for knowledge and creating and constantly upskilling themselves, on the basis of that we articulate that we need people not just with some mere qualification but also some personality characteristics, such as being able to upskill themselves, being able to update themselves, being able to identify the new requirements, such as if I were to design the same artwork on a software, I should know how to make use of that software, to be able to understand and articulate your ideas on paper, understanding where the client is taking the brief, and then on the basis of that strategically staffing decision. If I need a person to do accounting work and I and I recruit a person who has artistic abilities, that person with artistic abilities won't be able to do as much efficient work as a person, so that is a proper misfit. And then conducting a workforce analysis. So on the basis of all the information, all the gaps, we conduct a workforce analysis and then develop and implement action plans. And after we have developed and implemented our action plans to achieve and roll out our business strategy, then we keep monitoring it, evaluating and revising the forecast and action plans. So these are the 5 steps. So when we're talking about job and workforce analysis, why do we use it? So the purpose of job and work analysis is to describe the nature and component of the task, to provide information about tools and equipment use. So I'm going to use the similar example. If I want to recruit a person for my art firm, which makes paintings on people's demands for big artwork and big creative analysis, and which requires a lot of creative thing. So the nature of it is that you have to be creative, you have to be proactive, you need to have good communication skills, you have to understand the needs of the client and how to articulate them, and then making several drafts to understand how much is it matching with the requirements, and then components of the task, to provide information about tools and equipment used. If I am a person, I have to do an artwork and I don't know what kind of tools and equipments are used, such as the paintbrush and other things. So what are the tools and equipments are being used? If you are a psychometrician and you don't know how to use Excel for your calculation or some kind of softwares, for there are separate softwares for qualitative and quantitative analysis, how to make the best use of the tools and equipment, to be efficient and productive at your work, to provide information about the operations performed, to identify the education and training required, and then to provide information about the wages paid. So the entire job and workforce analysis has these purposes. Next slide. And also to provide information about unique aspect of a job and work for unique for, okay. So tell me an example where you think that something is very unique about a job. I'll help you with an example and then you can follow up. So if I am a lawyer, so I need to talk to criminals. So I have to be really tactful about talking to the criminals, how to understand the manipulation and everything, how to take leads. So this is something which is unique aspect of the job. So I'm giving two of you, all three of you, one task which is absolutely unique for that kind of job. So being a psychologist, which is the most unique part of being a psychologist?
Rapport building.
Rapport building, yes. Iti?
Empathizing with the client so that he or she is comfortable sharing
Yes.
the emotional issues.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is Vilma there?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so what is one unique aspect of being a psychologist?
Being able to listen attentively and understand what is being conveyed as they mean it.
Absolutely.
Empathize.
These are some unique requirements and aspect of the job. Without that, we won't be able to efficiently carry out our job. If we are not exhibiting our learning listening skills, if the rapport is not established, how would we proceed further into counseling session or therapy session? And yes, that is one unique aspect which has to be learned. And the next point is work analysis focuses on the skills and tasks that can be transferred from one job to another. So if I am, as a counselor, I have learned how to build rapport as a counseling psychologist and as a psychologist, as a clinical psychologist. Rapport building is one part. Without that, we are not able to communicate because our task is to deal with people. So rapport building, but do you think rapport building or listening can be transferred to some other job as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, give me an example where it can be transferred.
It's also important for lawyer.
Yes, it is also important for a lawyer. It is also important when you are trying to collect your data in personal setting, in one-to-one setting,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Qualitative
ma'am.
data.
Where else these skills can be used?
Organizational psychologist also use this.
Yes, organizational psychologist also uses the same skills. Okay, so I'll give you one more example. If conflict resolution is a skill which I learn as a lawyer, where do you think it could be useful? Other
In an
than his.
organization,
Hmm?
in every kind of organization, yes, and in
Yes.
family, in relationships.
Absolutely. In family also conflict resolution can be used in between,
Yes.
mediating between the different family members.
Yes. I think wherever people exist, conflict
Wherever people
resolution.
exist.
Yes.
So there are certain skills which are unique to the job, unique to the requirement to the job, but the workforce analysis focuses on the skills so that these can be transferred from one job to another. So if I know how to use Excel as a psychologist, I can also use the same Excel to manage my budget, or to make lists, or to make Google forms. Okay.
Mhm.
So these skills can be transferable. Similarly, rapport building is something which can be used at any point of time. If you're stuck, if you see a brawl happening on the road and you can clearly see that it could lead to something violent, if you are there as a psychologist, you can try to mediate and understand that, okay, it is not something very serious and can be handled. And if there is disagreement between your family members, such as the mother-in-law and the son, the daughter-in-law, they are getting troubled. So rapport building can be helpful in mediating. Listening can be
Right.
helpful. So there are so many skills which are not just applicable in the workforce, but also they can be transferred into different settings as well. So we would be specifically talking about talking in context of personal selection, but yes, we would use some examples to understand why and how to use these applications and techniques. So today, employee must develop various skills that can be applied to different jobs. Absolutely. Earlier, you were supposed to know only how to, if you were an accountant, you were only supposed to know how to understanding the credit and debit and everything. But now you need to know how to use an app, how to use this and that. So we have to understand so many skills. So if I'm a person, I'm a banker, I am supposed to know how does the money comes, what are different types of saving accounts, what are different types of offers and facilities do we offer. We also have to understand what is the philosophy of the bank and so many things. Not so if you are a banker and if you are a person who does not like to talk, and as a banker most of the interaction is with the people, you would soon be labeled as a person who should not be dealt with. People would avoid you just because you don't like to collaborate or don't want to communicate. Okay, so there are some skills which are required irrespective of the basic qualification. Rapport building is such skill which is required. Good communication is such skill which is required also at the administrative level job, also at the basic of the basic jobs. So it does not have to be very specific, but some skills have high applicability in nature. So the use of job and work analysis is to establish a training program. If there are some gaps, if I am a person who was selected for a banking job such as probationary officer or assistant manager, I know entire how does bank work and everything, but I'm not a person who is very good with communicating. I don't know how to deal with people. If there are 4 people trying to ask me questions, or how to I don't know how to use this online method, sir, please update my passbook, my FD is my date of FD is gone, sir, I want to access my locker. What kind of skills which are coming to use other than his qualification? Understanding the needs of different people, communicating and identifying the needs of different people. If I, as the assistant manager of the bank, end up getting irritated that why are you asking them? Because you are in a position of authority, you are in a position of administration. Everyone would directly come and throw questions at you. But if you're not trained how to deal with different situations at during your work, how are you able to handle it? Suppose a 18-year-old enters a bank and does not know how to fill a form, which kind of form to fill, and goes to a person who is really helpful. That is going to be the one of the most helpful experience for that 18-year-old who is trying to understand how banking works. But if that same 18-year-old young boy goes to a person who does not have these people skill, that boy is never going to reach the bank for another transaction, because he or she had got a really bad experience for the very first time. So there are so many skills. So if there are certain skills which are required from time to time, so training programs can be designed. If there are some gaps, then to design job and workspace for better performance. Everyone identified that during COVID, everyone was supposed to wear mask and maintain distance, but the tendency of Indian people is not to maintain distance. Then how can we design the workspace in a such way that it helps them maintain distance and also ensures their safety? And if I'm a lady, I'm working at MNC, and I recently had a child, but I also want to continue work. How will the organization design my workspace so that I can focus on my work? They would include a creche so that my focus is on the job and the child can be taken care of. Okay, so constant analysis on the basis of needs, on the basis of requirements, help us evaluate and redesigning for better performance. And then to uncover safety hazard and dangerous procedure, various evaluations are required for understanding safety hazard and dangerous procedures, if there are included. To follow equal employment opportunity programs successfully, to justify the qualification demands during the selection process. And last is to fight against discrimination charges. So there are many uses of job and work analysis, and we have identified so many things. So this is just a basic of where we are heading to. In the next, I'm stopping the PPT. Okay, so I have stopped sharing. So in the upcoming lectures, we would try to identify what does job selection looks like, and how to understand some theories. And on the basis of that, the next step would be to carry out literature review in the upcoming classes. But before that, we have to understand a little more on the theoretical aspect of job selection, as we had discussed in the syllabus. So all of you, please keep checking your Google Classroom. Before Wednesday, I would be sharing a small quiz to all of you so that all of you understand. We understand where are you heading to, and the purpose of the quiz is not to give you a heart attack that it is you are not going anywhere. It is just to evaluate how much you are present in the class, and the more we interact, the more we communicate, the more we able to take the best out of these lectures. So please keep checking Google Classroom for further updates, and the performance on the quiz would help you identify how to proceed further. Okay, and we would also be sharing some resource material, some PDF on the Google Classroom, and you would get your assignments, and all the assignments will have a deadline for 1 week. So you would be getting your assignments from the next lecture. So from next lecture, please be prepared for some basic assignments. And as sir has already mentioned, it would be great if you keep a pen and paper and keep writing down notes. We also know that the lesson is being recorded, so you can always go back and go back to the concept and revisit the concept. And if you have any queries, feel free to drop it in the WhatsApp group, and anyone can answer. It does not have to be just the teachers. There is one more faculty we have, Kavita. She's not available today, but yes, she would be joining us from the upcoming lectures. So this is how we would proceed, and I'm looking forward for your great participation and interaction, because since we all of us have some unique abilities, we have to make the best out of it. Yashwati is from OB background, so her initiatives and her perspective would add into our examples. Iti's expertise as a psychologist and as a person who is pursuing research and PhD. So her perspectives would bring a lot to it. Vilma ma'am is an experienced person. She's already working and she has already translated one of the tests. So all of us have unique features and unique personalities, unique way of contributing in the curriculum. So let's keep healthy contribution from all of us. On that note, I'm complete. And if you have any queries, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, Priya, may I add some concept?
Yes, sir.
Or time is over?
No, sir, we still have half an hour, but I think we would be concluding.
Okay, within 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
So when we are talking about the selection, usually we are telling that is the selection of the right people for the right position at the right time. But in actual place, you will find that is the selection means rejection. Okay. Mm-hmm. Though it is not very sound to listen, but this is the truth.
That's true, sir. Because selection is also a rigorous filtering process.
Correct. And you have noted that is the many students, they have applied for this course, but we could not accept them. So we are following the strict principles. Therefore, you can find out the selection means also the rejection.
That's true.
So you have to design the questionnaire in such a manner so that you can reject some of the individuals, some of the personnel who are not suitable, who are not fit for the job. And here is one model, that is the P-fit model. P means person, E means environment. Here environment means job. So P E fit, that is to what extent individual employee or individual candidate is suitable with respect to his or her K, S, A, and P. So what is K? K means knowledge. What is S? S means skill. What is A? A means aptitude. And P means personality. So we have to study the KSAP. Okay. So that is the main thing I like to share. Okay. My best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so before we proceed, there is as a as a culture of RPRIT, we have a opening prayer and a closing prayer. We have missed the closing prayer.
Okay, sure. Okay, so thank you, Priya. Thank you, Priya, for reminding. Yes, please you learn it because in interview people can ask you, that is what is the opening song and what is the closing song of RPRIT. The closing song is, please you close your hands. Om Purnamada Purnamidang Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
And apart from this ritual, at every end of our lecture, all of us switch on our cameras and click a picture for our memory. So I request everyone to please switch on your camera and I will be taking a screenshot.
Wilma, please.
Good to see all of your faces. So on the count of 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So if you have any queries, please go ahead, and we would be meeting on Wednesday, 7 to 9. And all the course materials and the PPTs would be shared soon on the Google Classroom. Please keep checking that. And I would share the quiz by tomorrow evening. And yes, please attempt the quiz to know how much you have been active here and what all you have learned and how much of it was absorbed into your memory. So on that note, thank you everyone for joining and hope to see you on Wednesday. Good evening to you all and happy weekend.
Thank you, ma'am. Same to you.
Same.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, on the count of 5, now we are closing the meeting.